that ionizes to completion and how to treat a weak acid that does not ionize to completion. Remember that whole story with the acetic acid, with the X squared and so on. Calculate the pH at any point during its titration. Well, that's nothing more than really a kind of a question associated with, it's kind of a stoichiometric calculation for acids and bases. Being able to draw titration curves, so strong acid, strong base, endpoint 7, weak acid, strong base, endpoint, let's say, 9, strong acid, weak base, endpoint would be around 4, right? So approximations. Of course, it depends on exactly how strong and exactly how weak. That's why I gave you this sort of, let's say, maybe not very satisfactory answer to your question. But we're talking about ranges, okay? And finally, here are some questions from Silverberg. This is chapter 18. And I think there is another chapter on acids and bases in Silverberg. Just check that. I think they do a very good job of acids and bases in the textbook. Here are some examples that you can try at home of additional questions, which I encourage you to do. Right? This is in chapter 18. To practice this. So I think this is important. Now I would just like to make one final remark about the midterm, because we have some time, which is, I think, very nice. So again, I'm quite happy with the results. With a class average of 6.5, it's a little bit on the low side, to be honest. I looked very carefully at the distribution. I also looked at the grades for each question. And there was one question, I think, that seemed to be quite difficult, and that was the question involving the stoichiometric calculation. It seems to be that was a question that people struggled with. It was graded in a very, very fair way. Method marks were given. In other words, if you made a mistake in the first question, the error was carried through. So that's how we graded it. And what I decided as the course coordinator for that question, having looked at the whole class, nobody got full credit for that question, which was out of 20. The highest was 18 out of 20. So what I decided to do for that question is to make full credit 18. Right? So that midterm is not out of 90, it's out of 88. Okay? That's what I decided to do because I looked at the question. We will go through this question or through the whole midterm on Thursday. You know, you have me on Thursday, so we can really go through it so you can see where you fell down. I think the important thing is if you did fall down and crashed, again, the important thing is there's still enough time to sort of rectify this and to remember that the midterm is only 35% of the overall grade, right? There's still a final, which is 45%, and there's a participation grade. So, you know, if you really pull out the stops now, I think you can still make it nevertheless. The other thing I should say is that there's also a reset, okay? So I think the midterm is maybe a wake-up call for some of you, right? And really to take this seriously if you didn't make it. And to you know, put measures in place that you actually do better in the final. Right. So that's all for today.
Every time. Cold man. Cold man.